According to international standard practice on prison affairs, someone who has been convicted and sentenced to a prison far away from his jurisdiction takes 1 week for the papers to be documented, filed, and for the prisoner to be evacuated to that particular prison. And this is mostly done by the prison itself that is going to house him. For Nnamdi Kanu to be evacuated less than 24 hours after that judgment was given, it means only one thing: that the Sokoto State Prison already knew that Nnamdi Kanu was going to be sentenced and sent to the prison itself. And they had made prior arrangements in weeks, preparation and preparing for the arrival and the extraction of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to Sokoto State. That leaves us to only one thing. That judgment was written outside the court, decided in a particular mansion somewhere in Abuja, and executed before judgment day. Everything has already been executed. All what played out on that day was the judge reading out what has already been discussed already. Have you wondered why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was not allowed to give his final written address? Now you understand why. Hello and welcome to Direct on the Spot. I'm your host, Chi Ne Do. Take a second to like this video, and if it's your first time, subscribe. Then click on that bell and select all to get notified whenever we release a video. Like I told you, the whole charade that happened on the 20th of November was just a hoax. Definitely a hoax. Because I did my fact checking to find out that according to international standard practice, judgments of that caliber that involves sending of an inmate to a region far away from the jurisdiction where he was convicted, lots of red tape has to be crossed. And because of most times, the judgment is done and finalized on that day of judgment, nobody is meant to know of this judgment except the judge himself in the morning of that day. But that was not the case for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because according to international standard practice on prison matters, it takes 1 week for a high-profile case like this to be evacuated, for the files to be documented. There are a lot of files here. This is civil service. It doesn't work like that. And this is a huge indictment on even the judgment, the conviction, and the sentencing. Because the evacuation to Sokoto already exposes a huge fraud, a pattern conversant with the state of Nigeria itself and their activities in everything they do. But that is not even the issue, because that sentencing exposes a bigger problem, which has to do with the conviction and the sentencing itself. Because if the transfer of Nnamdi Kanu was actually planned long ago that nobody could change, then the conviction, that is finding him guilty, and also the sentencing to life, every other thing was just planned in a room. That means Nnamdi Kanu was not actually tried in a court. Nnamdi Kanu was tried in a house. His matter was discussed. And guess who were the people involved in all these high-profile discussions? And your guess is as good as mine. The Southeast politicians. All of them. The high-profile ones. They were in that meeting and they approved of the sentencing, and they approved of the conviction, and they also approved of the Sokoto State Prison. All of them, call their names, all that you know that have played a role in Nnamdi Kanu's problem. They were all privy to this. Not only that, they were the ones that even brought up the suggestion, and they were the ones that executed it to the latter. Have you wondered why they have not come out to speak anything about Nnamdi Kanu's conviction? Even about the Sokoto State, Sokoto State Prison? Even about the amount of years, even about the life imprisonment? None. They did not show any pain, any remorse for even one of the issues. They kept silent that everything that was said on that court day was very okay for them. Why won't it be okay when they were the ones that actually joined in the writing down of that judgment? Because they sat in a room All of them, including Tinubu, including the AGF, including the judge, including the Southeast politicians, including the governor of Sokoto, and the Fulani hegemony, and many people who played a role in this. You know, Nigeria is a country ruled by a cabal, and whatever they do, they sit together. As it concerns Nnamdi Kanu, the Southeast politicians were also brought in because they are the ones that actually are holding strong to the resolve that Nnamdi Kanu must suffer in their hands. And that Sokoto state was actually their game plan, actually to get him far away so that the people will actually forget him, and he will not have access to his lawyers. He will not have access to be able to file a proper appeal, and probably their wish is for Nnamdi Kanu to pay the ultimate price. That is exactly what went down. Let me read this for you. For Nnamdi Kanu to be moved to Sokoto less than 24 hours after sentencing means they already knew where he was going before the judgment was read. Not necessarily exact wording of the judgment, but they absolutely knew he would be convicted. They absolutely knew he would be sentenced. You see? And they actually knew he would be sent to Sokoto Custodial Center. Sokoto State was already chosen and prepared. This kind of speed does not happen suddenly, especially for a high-profile political detainee like Nnamdi Kanu. Especially for a long-distance movement, especially for a DSS/NCOS interagency behavior, and especially for a prison in a different geopolitical zone. This was pre-planned. In Nigeria, such moves require escorts, deployed orders, route clearance, prison readiness, internal signals, coordination between DSS, NCOS, headquarters, state command, and the armed escort unit. Those things cannot be done from zero in under 24 hours. So yes, there was prior expectation of conviction and preparation already. Preparation of the custodial center. Did you hear it? Did you hear? Sokoto State prison already knew, and they have prepared the documents already ready, cleared, red tape has been crossed, and everything was already set for that day. So leave that thing Awolowo was saying about Nnamdi Kanu is asking the court, and the court should send Nnamdi Kanu to a place that is safe, probably somewhere that he will not do this, he will not do that. Just the script they had already written. Script. Then Motosho now said, I've heard what you said. I think I agree with you. I'll be sentencing him to Sokoto State prison. What kind of game? What do you? The funny part is that many Nigerians always believe their politicians. They believe their media a lot. But you cannot deceive Igbos. You cannot deceive me. We see through all of you, all the games, the stage plays, the theatrics, and the hide and seek you do. That is why Nigeria is a country that they never go for the problem. They always go for the town crier, the person that raises alarm for the problem. That is why the problem is still there. But that's not why I'm here. This is to show all of you and the enemies of Biafra and the enemies of Nnamdi Kanu that you should be wary lest one day Nigerian government turn upon you. Because this is the kind of cooked up judgment they do. They did it to Sarawiwa and they unalived him. They did same to Abiola. They did same to many great men of Nigeria that they have cut short their life with judiciary. They use judiciary and they use their extraordinary meeting, their cabal meeting, where they discuss people's matter and cut them off society, trained by the British, the pattern they should be using for their own people. That they gather themselves alongside the imperialists to decide the lives of brave African men. And that is why right now, Africa do not have brave men, because the braver you are, the more your life definitely will be at risk. Africa has turned to a continent that likes silence, that silences voices, and nobody talks. Nobody talks. Today is Saturday, the 29th day of November 2025, exactly 7 to 8 days after the sentencing of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to Sokoto State Prison. And with God on our side, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will come out of that prison. Their secret has just been exposed. More is yet to come. Till I see you in the next video. Peace.